Hello, this is Rod, welcoming you to the 2022nd edition of the Enfield Talking newspaper, Dateline, the 15th of October 2015. The readers this week are myself, Rod, Joan and Caroline, with Colin on the controls. The items that we will be reading come from our local newspapers, the Enfield Gazette and Advertiser and the Enfield Independent, and are their copyright. Our title music is Country Rock Polka, composed by Pat Prilly, Fernand Boulon, Harry Brewer, and performed by Jean-Jacques Perry, and is used with his kind permission. Local stories this week include: fireworks display wasn't banned, organisers insist; anger over illegal camps; and jolly good sports. There are no special news items this week. If you're experiencing any problems receiving your Enfield Talking newspaper, please phone Diane de Jersey on 0208 805 6578. She is your listener's representative and will be pleased to help you. And now it's over to Joan, who will read the first item of local news.
And I'm going to tell you about some jolly good sports. At least that's the heading of the next reading. Families joined in a 2.5-kilometre charity run in Oakwood Park on Sunday. The event was organised by Age UK Enfield to raise money for projects helping older people living in the borough. It also celebrated links with schools and the work pupils do, creating art with older people. Mosaics designed by the artists were unveiled at the event. Age UK Enfield's Business Development Manager, Susanna Yanni, said, "It was the first time we have run it. We wanted to create a family fun day to encourage people in the community to be active and healthy. We wanted it to be a family event, and it was not an intimidating distance. Pupils from Winchmore School were absolutely fantastic volunteers on the day." Now, as well as the fun run, which attracted 160 entrants, visitors enjoyed face painting and zorbing. Do you know what zorbing is? Well, that's something for you to find out, isn't it? Z-O-R-B-I-G, zorbing. One of the mosaics was stolen from the park during the week leading up to the event. It is red with the words, "Fit for Life." And of course, these days, nobody puts the number 4. This one doesn't either. It's called Fit for Life, and it's 1, 2, 3, 4, that number, in gold lettering, and is the size of a paving slab. "It's such a shame as a lot of the children brought their presents to see the plaques," said Mrs. Yanni. She said the plaques, which were created as part of the Art Start scheme, will be displayed securely in the park. So that's where you'll find them.
The discovery of a third illegal camp of Romanian immigrants has been met with outrage by people living nearby. The encampment of more than almost 20 Romanian nationals was found under the North Circular Road at Advent Way, Edmonton, yesterday, after reports of antisocial behaviour. This is the second such site to be found in the same place in less than 2 months, and comes 11 months after a shanty site was found in a woodland off of Advent Way. The flyover has become a hotspot for rough sleepers, and those living nearby have been left fuming at the constant problems. David McGuinness of Derby Road, near to the encampment, told the Enfield Independent of his dismay at the recent activity. He said, "It's causing real problems down here, and no one's bothering to take real action. People go to the site, camp there for a while, then get moved on. But then we see a fresh batch of people there. It's an obvious hotspot and is the scourge of the area." He added, It's utterly disgraceful that they can pitch up where they like and make their own homes. Lots of people use the pathway which runs to the River Lee, but now everybody's too intimidated to go down there, especially at night. There's so much rubbish and it stinks everywhere. The police only have to wait a few more weeks and there'll be more people again. Those using the wooded area as a walk alongside the River Lee say they now fear using the path. One, Bishwan Metha, said, "I don't feel safe riding my bike through there anymore. It's been getting worse and worse over the past couple of years. They've turned the area into their own. It's not a safe area, especially at night, and yet action seems to be done every now and then. We need a proactive police force to stop it happening." Mr. Metha complained that litter had been rife in the area since the encampments had been used. He added, "It has to be a collective effort, but someone must know to send people there. It's no coincidence that people continue to show up." A police spokesman said, "Edmonton Neighbourhood's policing team, working in partnership with Home Office Immigration Enforcement Officers, Enfield Council and the homeless research charity Thames Reach, visited a site under the A406 near Advent Way, N18, at 6 a.m. on Monday, October the 12th, after receiving several reports of antisocial behaviour. Checks were carried out on a group of people who had set up camp under the flyover. No arrests were made. Home Office Immigration Enforcement Officers served enforcement papers on 13 Romanian nationals who now have 30 days to leave the UK or face further enforcement action. Thames Reach is working with 5 Romanians who want to voluntarily return to Romania.
The organisers behind a cancelled fireworks display have stressed that no one banned them from staging the event. The plug has been pulled on the event, which has become an annual fixture in Enfield Town Park. But Stephen Way, the communications officer for the Scouts in the Greater London area, told the Advertiser that discussions had been ongoing with Enfield Council and the police throughout the year, right up until the decision was finally made last month not to stage the display, which had been scheduled for November 7th. He explained, "The police had concerns about ensuring the event was monitored properly, and with the recent rise in knife crime in Enfield, they had some safety concerns. The council had concerns about entrance and exit points in the park and the potential for perhaps a crush of people leaving the park at the same time." Mr. Way admitted that in the future, if PCSO numbers were cut back drastically, it would be difficult to see how the event could be policed, as we have relied on PCSOs in the past to marshal the event. Mr. Way strongly denied that the police and council had banned them from staging the event, adding, "We are a charity, and we had to make a decision over whether it would be the most responsible thing to spend money on this event without knowing 100% that we could fully address the concerns set out by the police and the council." He admitted that they were disappointed that the event would not be going ahead. He said, "The fireworks display was our main form of fundraising, and without the funds generated by the event, we will be forced to put the price of the membership up. The capital for the display comes from the revenue from the previous year's display, and he said that now the money that they would otherwise have spent on the celebrations would be reinvested into providing training and leadership courses for Scout leaders." Mr. Way stressed that although there were concerns from the council and the police, every year the spectacle had passed off without incident. He added, "We are all very disappointed, and we are in talks with the relevant bodies about the possibility of staging it again next year. Hopefully this is just a one-off."
Well, I have 2 lots of information about the same object, and that is in food donations to charity in this borough. I'll read one after the other because the 2 of them perhaps could join forces in future. I'm not suggesting if they should or that they would. I'm just reading the 2 so that all of you know what's going on and why. The headline of the first is "A Church's Fundraising Boost for Charity." And the second one also has a headline which says, "Boost in Food Donations." Now, the similarity between the two is evident once I've read it. In the first, I'll read the church one, because it's the first I picked up. And here it says, "A church has celebrated 2 decades at the heart of the community with a fundraising drive for 2 charitable organizations. The House of Prayer, known as ICC, in Hertford Road, Edmonton, was established 20 years ago, and to commemorate the anniversary, the senior pastor of the Pentecostal Church, Seth Mensah, organized a charity drive with the help of young people from the church, with members of the congregation bringing in donations for the Edmonton Food Bank, as well as for the Age UK Enfield. It was absolutely brilliant," said Mr. Mensah. "There was music and cake stalls and a great atmosphere. All the money raised from the cake sales is still in the process of being counted. And now the congregation is looking forward to the next 20 years serving that community in Edmonton." Mr. Mensah said, "I would like to thank the congregation for all their contributions of food for the food bank. The congregation is wonderful. They are so loyal and dedicated. The success of the past 20 years is down to them." He said that the church operated an open-door policy and anyone interested in getting involved can drop in at any time. "We are very welcoming to everyone. We are a family that cares about each other, and we always aim to be a strong part of our community," he said. Now let's see what they say about the other one, which the pupils' donations to the poorest in the borough more than doubled at their annual Harvest Festival collection. Students from Highland School in World's End Lane gave food and goods to Enfield Food Bank. As demand increases for the neediest, Highland students and staff are aiming to raise awareness of poverty in Enfield, as well as donating food and other items. The head teacher, Bruce Goddard, said, "It is so important, particularly in a relatively well-off part of Enfield, that all of our students are aware of the inequalities that exist in our society." That ends the 2 bits of information that I introduced to you at the beginning of this reading. I hope you agree that it was worthwhile doing the 2 almost as one.
Students have been tucking into free breakfast thanks to a slice of a £52,000 grant from a housing group. Oasis Academy Hadley in Ponders End will continue its free breakfast club meals for 100 of its primary and secondary school pupils, thanks to London and Quadrant, L&Q, as well as the Greggs Foundation. Lyd Dawes, principal at Oasis Academy Hadley, said, "Our pupils really benefit from the breakfast club, which helps them to start their day with a nutritious meal and social time with their friends, whilst getting ready for a day of learning. Parents also find it useful to have somewhere safe to drop off their children early while on their way to work. We're delighted to continue offering this service with our breakfast club partners, L&Q and Greggs." Mike Donaldson, L&Q's Group Director Strategy and Operations, said, "Schools are community hubs, and working with them allows us to reach out and connect with more young people to fulfil our social mission. We're delighted to be partnering with the Greggs Foundation in this way to offer support to L&Q residents and non-residents alike across the capital." breakfast clubs have been strongly supported by Boris Johnson, whose own Mayor's Fund for London is seeking to open 50 additional clubs in the capital by 2016. Mr Johnson added, "Through the Mayor's Fund for London and our other schools programmes, we're already achieving a great deal to ensure more young people have a good start to the day. This new investment in breakfast clubs by L&Q and Greggs means that even more youngsters will be set up for a day of learning at school."
A man convicted of illegally dumping building waste has been given a suspended prison sentence and will have his vehicle crushed. Martin Ward of Shelburne Road, Tottenham, was arrested in June on suspicion of fly tipping following a report about a large amount of building materials being dumped in Folly Lane, Walthamstow. Waltham Forest Council's neighbourhoods officers began a search of the items that had been abandoned on the road to try to find clues as to who may have left it there. Their efforts paid off, and the team managed to trace some of the items of waste back to a property in neighbouring borough of Haringey. Following a joint operation with officers from the Met Police, Mr Ward was found, arrested, and his vehicle was seized. Ward appeared at Thames Magistrates Courts on October 1st, where the 44-year-old was given a 6-week prison sentence, suspended for 2 years. He was also ordered to pay £100 prosecution costs. His vehicle was forfeited and will now be crushed, according to the council. Cabinet Member for Environment, Councillor Clyde Lokes, said the prosecution was a success and proof of how hard the authority works to ensure fly tippers do not get away with blighting the borough's roads. He said, "This is a satisfying result and serves as an example of how seriously we take fly tipping in this borough. Clearing up fly tipping costs the council, and by extension the residents of Waltham Forest, £1.5 million a year. We will continue to use the full extent of the law to punish anyone caught in the act. If any residents witness fly tipping taking place, they should report it to us so we can investigate and take necessary action." Last year, new legislation was introduced making it easier for local authorities to seize and crush vehicles which have been involved in illegally dumping waste. In recent months, the council has called for the government to introduce tougher penalties for those caught because of the burden on the taxpayer. Folly Lane has been a hot spot for illegal rubbish dumping for some time, which the council has vowed to clamp down on.
Now we have 2 reports about work beginning on a new care home in Enfield. And I'll read both because one gives you more information in detail, whilst the other is forecasting more or less what they're hoping to achieve. But the last sentence in the one where they are hoping to achieve something says the work is not expected to complete it until November 2016. So we have to read these with that in mind, I think. We wait and see, shall we? Now, the construction is underway on a new 70-bed council-run residential care home for the elderly. The ambitious development in Old Road, Enfield Highway, will replace Coppicewood Lodge in Grove Road, New Southgate, and Bridge House Care Home in Forty Hill, Enfield. Alex Kazimoglu, Enfield Council's Cabinet Member for Health and Adult Social Care, said, "Our decision to build a new care home in the borough allows us to respond to the shortages of nursing care capacity in Enfield. Our building contractor, Morgan Sindall, started on site in August, and work on the construction of the new care home has started. The new care home will be a bright, modern building with excellent facilities specifically designed to meet residents' needs. It will be fully equipped and adapted en-suite bathrooms, activity rooms, a landscaped garden, complete with seating areas and wheelchair-accessible paths. The 70 bedrooms will be split into groups of 10 to 14, each with their own lounge and dining rooms, which will help provide a homely environment for the people who will live there. The new care home is expected to be completed in November next year, and the residents of Coppice Wood and Bridge House will be the first to move in. As it develops, the new facility will also provide nursing care for people living with dementia. Now, the other group, the other report was that they are building these new care homes in the borough because it allows us to respond to the shortage of nursing care capacity in Enfield. Our building contractor, the same one, Morgan Sindel, started on site in August. Well, we've been told that already, haven't we? And the construction of this new care home has been started. And we're told again it'll be bright, modern building with excellent facilities specifically designed to meet residents' needs. It will be fully equipped with adapted ensuite bathrooms, activity rooms and landscape garden, complete with seating areas and wheelchair accessible paths. And the last line says, the work is not expected to be completed until November 2016.
A date has been set, though, for a footbridge to reopen almost 18 months after it was closed. The bridge across the North Circular Road at Bowes Road in Bounds Green will be reopened in March 2016. It closed in April 2014 after inspection by Transport for London. Concerns have been raised by Assembly member for Enfield, Joan McCartney, who wrote a letter to the Mayor of London, Boris Johnson. AM McCartney raised fears over the safety of school children crossing the North Circular Road without the bridge. The bridge was opened in 2012, but a structural failure meant stairs had to be closed to the public. Ms McCartney said it's frustrating people have had to wait so long for these repairs. It's equally frustrating that TfL's communication with residents on this matter has been so poor. It's now down to TfL to ensure the repairs are carried out successfully.
A student union's welfare and diversity officer who was caught up in a race row over the #KillAllWhiteMen phrase has been summoned to court over a complaint of racially motivated malicious communication. Bahar Mustafa, 28, of Edmonton, is Student Union Diversity Officer at Goldsmiths University of London. Last year, she was caught up in a row when she asked white men not to attend a student union meeting that was specifically intended for ethnic minority and genderqueer women. She was then accused of tweeting using the #KillAllWhiteMen from her Twitter account, which has since been deleted. She is due to appear at Bromley Magistrates Court on November the 5th over an accusation of sending a communication conveying a threatening message between November 10th, 2014 and May 31st, 2015. She is also facing a charge for sending a grossly offensive message via a public communication network between November 2014 and May 21st, 2015.
This now is rather important, particularly of parents whose children are coming to the stage when they will be applying to go to secondary schools. They are almost identical, so I will read this one with the time that we have left. Calls have been made for parents to apply for secondary school places for their children before the end of this month being October. Last year, 96% of parents got one of their first 6 choices for their children as long as they applied before October the 31st. Councillor Aifa Oran, Enfield Council's Cabinet Member for Education, said parents can apply online at www.enfield.gov.uk/admissions, which is the fastest way. Parents applying after October the 31st deadline run the risk of missing out on a school of their choice. First preferences at 92% this year were up on their figures last year. Overall, 93% of first, second and third choices in Enfield were met. So please get your applications in to avoid disappointment. Tell your family, if you have no children, but you have someone in the extended family that would need to know about this. And Enfield secondary schools teach the range of subjects. They've worked becoming designated for a learning focus in arts and drama, business studies, sports and science. 89% of Enfield's borough schools are rated good or outstanding by Ofsted. There's an 98% at A level. More than half of the grades were from A starred to B.
Council bosses are playing a waiting game on reducing business rates following the latest government announcement. Chancellor George Osborne said at the Tory party conference last week that councils will be getting more devolved power, which includes setting business rates for Enfield traders. The council will also keep all rates generated by the tax, which was previously collected by councils but set and redistributed by central government. Council leader, Councillor Doug Taylor, said, "As I understand it, this is for 2020, so no immediate consideration. We will be considering the full impact when we see the details."
We have now reached the end of side 1 of this tape. Please stop your machine now, take out the cassette, turn it over and start side 2.